If you want to succeed in this business, the most important skill you need to learn is acquisitions. The most overlooked skill is communication. If you can't communicate with agents and sellers, you'll never unlock the opportunities that are waiting for you. Most people think communication means having the smoothest talk or the most persuasive pitch. And that's not it at all. Real communication in real estate is about becoming a. Have you ever thought about getting into real estate, or are you in real estate right now? Maybe not closing on deals you want to. If you're either of those, then this video is for you. And maybe you see people posting their deals online. Maybe you've been watching people on YouTube flip houses, or maybe you've been wondering if you could do that too. But then you get that little voice inside your head that says, yeah, but it takes money to make money, or I don't have a real estate license, or man, I didn't grow up with a rich family. How am I ever going to compete with these people? If that sounds familiar, I want to tell you something that changed everything for me. See, I didn't start with any money in real estate. I didn't need a license. I don't have a license, and I definitely don't come from a rich family. But there's one thing that you need that I gained, which is a skill to find deals. Because when you know how to find deals, you can create your own opportunities. And I know you're thinking, but everyone tells me I need money for a down payment. I need credit, a good credit for loans. I need connections to get started. And that's what I thought too. And that mindset kept me stuck. I'd be scrolling through Bigger Pockets, watching endless YouTube videos of all the gurus telling me what I need to be doing, what they're doing, watching other people close deals while I sat in the sidelines making excuses. I see the people going around saying, look at this big fat check right on Facebook, thinking, man, they must have some secret that I don't know. But here's what I discovered. The people making real money in this business aren't the ones with the most capital. They're not the ones with the best credit scores or the fanciest offices. In fact, before I ever made my first 100 grand wholesaling, I had a 500 credit score, no job, driving Grubhub, disabled veteran, full-time college student, 4 kids, a wife, 3 dogs, moved from Tennessee to Florida, had no family to depend on while I was here. And the little family I did have that were states away were just as broke as me, and we weren't even on that level to help each other like that. And in my first 12 months of taking action, I crossed the 100 grand mark wholesaling, and I spent hours and hours getting better every single day. And the one thing that I noticed that was a key determining factor in my success was my communication skills. Because at the end of the day, the people making real money in this business are the ones who can communicate value so clearly that other people want to do business with them. Think about that. Every real estate transaction involves people. Sellers who need to sell, agents who need to move inventory, buyers who need good deals, contractors who need work for their employees. And if you can become the person who can connect these dots better than anybody else in your market, you become invaluable. And valuable people get paid. But we got to be practical. If you want to succeed in this business, the most important skill you need to learn is acquisitions. And within acquisitions, the most overlooked skill is the communication aspect. Communication is a real game changer because if you can't communicate with agents and sellers, you'll never unlock the opportunities that are waiting for you. But here's what most people get wrong. They think communication means having the smoothest talk or the most persuasive pitch. And that's not it at all. Real communication in real estate is about becoming a trusted person instead of another investor trying to make a quick buck. How many times have you spoke to an agent or seller who had been ran through by bad wholesalers? Well, I'm here to give you a little secret on that. When I first started, I sounded just like them. But why? Because I learned from the same internet gurus that you probably learned from. And we all say the same things. Hi, my name is Carlos. I'm an investor in your area. That opening line is more played out than the cha-cha slide at everybody's wedding. So guess what happened in order for me to get rid of that old played out line? I had to start over with something new, right? I fast forward 6 months later, I start calling the same agents I talked to before, but this time I learned something. This time I said, hey, Sarah, I saw your listing on Maple Street. Photos look like you got great bones, but I noticed that the kitchen looks pretty original. I'm curious, have you ever had any feedback when showings about renovation this thing needs? Right? We go back and forth for 5 minutes or so. And by the end of that call, she's asking me questions about renovation costs and market values. Fast forward today, me and those agents still work together. I get 2 or 3 off market deals, ones that are on market from them, and my deals continue to flow. But why? It's because I stopped trying to get something from them and I started giving them value and to their clients. So, what does a good communication look like, right? How do you get to that point in your business? Well, here's the exact framework that I use. The first one. Hey, I hope you're enjoying and getting a lot from this video. I want to give you a way to go even deeper and actually dominate the real estate market anywhere in America with confidence. If you've been wholesaling deals, doing JV flips, been a real estate agent or broker, or even trying to break into real estate investing and wholesaling the right way,
I want to personally invite you to my Master Market Challenge. It's a 5 day live event that is recorded. So if you miss a day, you can go back, rewatch it at your convenience. But during those 5 days, the first day we're going to talk about confidently navigating and analyzing any market in America to find on market and off market deals. We're going to go over different strategies so you can close deals faster. We're going to talk about master communications so you can win over negotiations. We're going to talk about creating systems that's going to make your business run smoothly, both free and paid. And you're going to be able to walk away with a clear execution plan to take action now and be able to get deals done today. Here's the best part. It's covered by my 10 times better than money back guarantee. If you don't get at least one game-changing insight, I'll refund you every penny and let you keep all the bonuses. So if you're tired of guessing, watching other people close deals, or tired of being stuck in YouTube University, let me help you learn the right way. Click the link in the description to join the Master Market Challenge today, and I'll see you on the inside. Now let's get back to the video.
Stop sounding like a wholesaler. When you call an agent and you say, "Hi, I'm an investor in your area. I'm looking to buy houses," you sound like everyone else. That's why they don't call you back. That's why they don't trust you. And here's a little side note. Nobody asked you what you are or who you are. All they want to know is what your name is and what do you want, and they want to get off the phone, right? And here's another piece. They get calls from these investors all day long. And most people claim to be investors and are wasting their time, make terrible offers, or they make the most beautiful offer, right? Like Trump says, a big, beautiful bill, right? They put this big old beautiful thing. And guess what happens? It doesn't close because that deal that they gave you was crap. It looked like good face value, but they couldn't close because it was crap deal to their investors and they can never close on that. So instead of sounding like that, instead of being like that, just sound human. Start with a simple, "Hey, I saw your listing on 123 Main Street. I had a couple questions about it. Do you have a second?" And that's it, right? You don't have to say you're an investor. You don't say you're a buyer. You don't say you're a wholesaler. Just be you. But here's the key. You need to have done your homework first. Don't call a property that you haven't researched. Look at the photos. Check out the description, right? Know the neighborhood already before you get in there. I'm not saying comp properties before you do that because that's a terrible idea. Don't ever comp a house before you call. But when you call, be specific, have intelligent questions, and immediately separate yourself from the amateurs. Now, when you get on the phone, don't rush to make an offer. This is where patience pays off big time. Ask them, how old's the roof on this one? Any issues with plumbing or electrical? Have they ever been updated? Is there anything that might need attention that wasn't listed in the description? What kind of feedback are you getting from your showings? How long has it been on the market? How long do you think it's going to be on the market? Your goal is to get them to start talking and more importantly, get them to start thinking. But here's the most important piece that people miss. They listen to how they answer these questions. Listen, are you being defensive? Are they being honest about the problems? Are they being knowledgeable about the property? What are they doing? Because their answers are going to tell you whether or not you can work with this person long term or not. You need to have them ask you questions. You need to have them answer your questions because this is where the magic happens. If you ask the right questions, you let their curiosity do the heavy lifting. When you ask questions like, "Do you know how much a new roof might run on this property? Have you looked at any comps in this area? Do you know what it's going to be once it's all the way fixed up?" Right? You get them to get engaged. They start realizing the work involved. And by the time you do make an offer, they're expecting it to reflect the real cost. Right? So here's an example from a deal I did a couple months ago. The property was listed at 280. It was 1,600 square foot, hadn't been updated since the 1970s. And instead of me going on there just slingshotting and spaghetti at the wall and throwing a $200,000 offer in there, saying, "Oh, I got it under, 70, 80 grand off list price. That's a good deal." No, right? I asked the agent, "Have you had any contractors look at this? I'm seeing that the kitchen, it's about $35 square foot in this market for a basic renovation. That's $56,000 just for cosmetics. It looks like the roof needs done from the photos. That's probably another 10 grand. All right. Have you run in these numbers by your seller?" And what happens is the agents pause. "No, we haven't broke it down like that. No, I can get things done a lot cheaper." And when they say that, you say, "Oh man, if you can get it done cheaper than what I said, can you hook me up with who that person is? Because I need them so I can make more money on my flips, or I can offer better offers on my with to your sellers, right?" And then you ask them if they don't say that, right? Would it be helpful if I put together a renovation estimate? Right? I work with contractors all the time, and I can give you a realistic number to share with your seller. That way, when offers come in, everybody's working with the same information, right? And guess what happens? Few days later goes by, agent calls me. My seller wants to know if you're so interested. After seeing your renovation breakdowns, they realize that the listing price might be a little bit too high, right? Because what you did is you brought them back down to realization, right? And we end up closing that deal at 225. It's worth about 375. The seller was happy because they understood the real cost now. The agent was happy because they got a deal actually close instead of falling apart during inspection period. And I was happy because I got another deal done. Right? The key to this is to build trust before giving your offers. Don't just throw out numbers right away. Say, let me do my due diligence. Let me run my numbers. I'll give you a call back in a couple hours at this time, around this time. What's a good time to call you back? Right? Figure out a time to call them back because this is going to buy you time. It positions you as a thoughtful investor instead of just another investor throwing lowball offers. But more importantly, it gives them time to think about everything that you've discussed. They start looking at renovation costs themselves. They start calling contractors. They start calling people they know that are in the business. They start seeing the property through investor eyes. Then what happens when you call back? This is what you say. I looked at the pictures again. I did more research in the area. I noticed the roof definitely needs to be replaced. Like I said, the kitchen is original. Would you agree to that? Right. And then if they agree with the facts, then you can say, based on all of that, I'm thinking I can offer X amount of dollars. Now they see your offer as reasonable. You're not just making up numbers. You're helping them understand reality, right? And that's the art of communication in real estate. It's not just about talking, it's about listening. It's about asking the right questions. It's about helping the other person see what they didn't see before. But let me tell you why this matters beyond just getting deals. When you master this approach, you're not just wholesaling, you're not just buying properties, you're building a business. You're building a lead generation business where agents start calling you with opportunities. Sellers are for their friends, right? Their neighbors. And contractors want to work with you because you understand what real costs are, real timelines, right? I have an agent in Tampa who sends me distressed properties from time to time when she gets them, right? Before they hit the market. And why does she do that? Because over the years, I've helped her understand these things. I helped her go over the renovation costs on listings she couldn't sell. We've worked together, to make the price more realistic. I wholesale the deals to other investors. She knows I can bring somebody to the table or I can close, right? And then what happens is they end up selling the house again after exactly what I said, right? She made her commission. She gets proof of concept. The seller got out of a property they couldn't afford to fix. I made my profit. Everybody won. And that's the power of good communication. It creates a win-win situation instead of adversary negotiations, right? You don't need to be fighting and butting heads and being adversaries. And here's another example from last year. I got a call from a seller who said, my agent gave me your number. She said, you're the guy who would actually be able to do what he says he does. Right? And this seller had been burned by other investors already. And this is the first one tied up for 30 days and then asked for a 40K price reduction or inspection. And the second one made the cash offer, but then they show up at the close date trying to assign the contract to somebody else when it was non-assignable and blew up the deal. And then everything got messy, right? And by the time they call me, they're already frustrated. They're already mad. They're already skeptical. But because I had the reputation for honest, straightforward communication, his agent vouched for me. He knew that I'd be able to give him an offer we'd be able to close on. And we did exactly as agreed. Within 18 days, the price we negotiated on the phone, we didn't go down. We had no surprises, no last minute changes, no drama, just a closing. And that reputation is worth more than any single deal because it's what turns real estate from a transaction based hustle into relation based business. And let me share the biggest mistakes I've seen people make with these communication skills because avoiding these are going to save you months and months of frustration. Mistake number one, you try to sound like an expert before you are one. Now, look, you need to have confidence in what you're doing. I'm not saying to not be confident. You need to be confident, but you don't want to be a liar, right? I see new investors using the industry jargon, and guess what? The agents cannot understand what you're saying. You're not impressing anybody. It backfires every time. Don't be that fake it until you make it person. Because most agents do not know what the heck you're talking about. They have no idea what ARV means. They have no idea what MAO means. They have no idea what any of these things mean. And the sellers definitely don't know what the heck you're talking about. So just be honest with your experience level, right? Just talk to them like they're normal people. What do you think this place will be when it's fixed up? What is it going to sell for? Instead of saying, what do you think ARV is? They're like, what is ARV? Right? Just and if you're new, say something like, "I'm still new to this, but I have great mentors and partners around me who help me make, um, you know, stop from making mistakes like they have made in the past, and be a forever student, right? Be a person who loves to learn, and then tell them, you know, I love to learn and I would love to learn what you know so I can be better, right? Because people appreciate honesty and they'll often teach you things that you never would have learned by pretending to know everything. Mistake number two is making everything about price. Listen, price is important, very important, because if it ain't a good number, you can't sell it. But it's not everything. Sometimes sellers care more about timing or certainty or avoiding the hassle of showings and repairs. So ask questions like, do you want to close as soon as possible? Or would you like me to work out a deal so we have more time to find a new place? And hey, what if we close and I still pay you and you can stay in the house for 10, 15, 20 days to make your life easier on you to get your stuff out and you have the funds now to hire a moving company, so you gotta do it yourself, right? Understand what their priorities are, because then you can structure offers that give them what they really want. Even if your price isn't the highest, giving them those things might be the determining factor for them to say yes to you, right? Mistake number three, burning bridges before you actually make rapport, right? Or burning bridges with bad communication with them. Listen, real estate is a very small world. And that agent or seller you're being rude to today, particularly the agent, they might represent the perfect property for you next month. The seller who rejects your offer might have another house to sell next year. There's a tired landlord. Maybe they have a portfolio that they want to get rid of, but they're putting them out one by one. And whoever they find they like the most, they say, hey, I got 20 houses I'm trying to sell. Imagine 20 deals you can sell. That will literally take care of your whole year's budgets, marketing, team, hiring, scaling, life, family, whatever it is, right? Pay off the big bills, whatever it is. But you're never going to get there if you burn bridges. So always end conversations professionally. Even when they don't go your way, say something like, I understand it doesn't work for you right now. If anything changes, or if you come across another property that might fit, I'd love to stay in touch with you. No, no hard feelings at all. God bless you. Take care. And then hang up, right? If they say, no, you're lowballing, don't just hang up on them. Don't say, you have no idea what you're talking about. Don't be pushing it in their face. Be respectful, be professional, right? I've gotten deals 6 months later from people who initially said no. Just because I stayed professional, I kept the door open, right? And if you can do this, if you can do that, if you can, whether you're wholesaling, you're flipping, you're buying, holding, whatever you're doing, you never run out of deals because people will trust you. Agents will send you the deals. Sellers want to work with you. But here's the thing. You can't learn communication from videos alone. You can't just watch this and say, "Oh, I got it now," and go do it. You have to make the calls. You have to have conversations. So start with one property this week, preferably a fresh listing that looks like a fixer-upper. Look at the photos, take a look at the description, and then call and build their rapport with that agent early. Don't worry about making an offer on their first call. Just focus on having a good conversation. Ask the good questions, listen to their answers, practice being helpful instead of trying to get something. Do this 5 times, and I guarantee you start seeing patterns. You'll understand what agents, deal with every single day. You get a better understanding of asking questions that actually matter. And do this 50 times, and you'll build relationships that are going to feed you deals and deals and deals for years to come. Now, if this resonated with you, if you got something from this, if you are like, man, this is good. If you want to learn the exact framework I use to close deals with, even without my cash or without being licensed or without connections, I put together a free little training for you called the Art of Acquisitions, totally free, right? In the training, I'll break down different scripts, right? How to analyze things, all a bunch of little things here for you to get better and to sharpen your skills, right? Just go to carlosbolton.com/ACQ and download it. Totally free, like I said. But more importantly, if you want to take action, don't just watch this video. Don't just move on to the next one. Pick up the phone. Start having conversations. Let's stop waiting for the perfect time. Let's stop waiting for the money. Let's build one skill that's going to unlock everything. Because at the end of the day, real estate isn't about properties, it's about people. And if you can't connect with people and help solve their problems and communicate value clearly, you're never going to be out of business. Let's get you in the game, right? If this is helpful to you, hit that like button, subscribe for more content, drop in the comments. Let me know what your biggest communication challenge is right now in real estate. Let me know your market. If you're in Northeast Florida, I'm looking for properties. You can go to integrityhomebuyersfl.com. Connect with me. Let me know what you got. I'd love to help you. I'd love to consult you. I'd love to buy deals from you. Whatever it is, if you have a question for me, let me know. I'll answer in the next video. Until then, I'll see you later. God bless.